ground for today's sudden death preliminary semi-final between Parramatta and Penrith. The Penrith club make history today with this their first appearance in a first-grade semi-final since the club's inception back in '67, and all made possible by their memorable win over Manly here last Tuesday night. Parramatta, they've got a lot at stake to keep their impressive record intact. Grand final winners in 81, 82 and 83, and runners-up to Canterbury in 1984. The Eels and the Panthers, they've met 3 times this year. Penrith having the first win in a National Panasonic Cup by 18-10. Then in the first round of the Winfield Cup, another win by 24-16. But their second round clash here at the cricket ground went to the Eels by 21-10. The winner of today's clash earns the right to play the loser of tomorrow's Balmain-Canterbury match. The loser says goodbye to 1985. The Eels team lineup: Taylor, Lydiard, Cronin, Ella, Groth, Kenny, Sterling, Price, Laurie, Sharp, Lillis in 24, Mosley and Jerd. The Panthers look like this: Lobb, Robinson, Izzard, Wolf, Gonzalez, Burns, Alexander, Clements, Howell, Zavanovic, Goodwin, Simmons and Gerard. Same team as Tuesday, and the referee for this clash of the Westerners is Kevin Roberts. The Panthers from right to left. David Lydiard. Just outside the 22 line. Sterling to Kenny. Cronin. Good solid defence, flat defence. Brad Izzard tackler on Michael Cronin. He forced him back a good 6 metres. Laurie. Well, the question is, of course, can Penrith come back from a playoff on Tuesday night and knock over Parramatta as Ray Price strolls into a yawning opening? He's found Jeremy Lillis. Lillis to the 32. It's gone to Kenny, inside to Lydiard. Lydiard back to Kenny. Kenny away. It's gone through Mosley to Price, and Ray Price has scored an Eels special. First 2 minutes of the match. Less than that. Oh boy, oh boy. Is that a sign of things to come, or what is it? Well, Ray Price, Mr. Perpetual Motion, went into an opening that you could have driven a bus through, and he got the ball away. And Jeremy Lillis, what a big day for him in number 24. I was going to tell you something about him, but I didn't have the time. Kenny to Lydiard. Lydiard went in and away. Kenny said thank you and turned it into Mosley. Mosley to Ray Price, who started it all by galloping into an opening. And the try has been converted by Michael Cronin, and Parramatta have really shocked Penrith with an early try. 6-0 the score. So Greg Alexander restarts. Bill, as a man with tremendous coaching knowledge, what would that do to a side like Penrith playing in their first ever semi-final?
Well, it could well be the nail in the coffin.
Oh, hold the phone. Ella's into an opening inside over the halfway. He beats the fullback lob. He's picked up from behind by the wing three-quarter, Mark Robinson.
And Penrith are having the problems that we all thought they could. They played their grand final on Tuesday night, and it's going to be very difficult for them to lift themselves psychologically twice in a week. The physical part isn't so bad. It's going to be the mental side that'll get the better of them.
Graeme Hughes is on the sideline with Peter Wynn, who must be smiling at this stage.
Peter, a brilliant start for the side.
Oh, you couldn't ask for anything better than the 6 points at this stage of the game.
The crowd comes to its feet again as Sterling is tackled 12 metres out. We'll come back to Peter Wynn in a moment, but they'll go for the bomb here. Taylor puts it up. Sharp is offside. It's gone up and came down. Sharp was inside the 5. Roberts allowed it to go, and he's ruled that the play the ball should take place, and that's a turnover with Penrith to play it. And here it was, the contest for the bomb. And it's come down apparently to a Parramatta player. It has, in fact. And so Parramatta have come back with the ball. So Penrith have got away to an awful start. And Ray Price has burrowed to within 2 metres on the second tackle. It's to be played back to Mosley. It's come to Sharp. Sharp is going to score. No, he didn't get it down. It's a 5-metre scrum to restart margin. Well, Sharp was over for mine, but he was unable to get it down. And a good ruling. Alexander feeds, Penrith wins, as we take you back to the sidelines, and Graeme Hughes with Peter Wynn.
Peter, that start obviously just underlines the fact that most critics believe the Eels are 2-1 on for this one.
Well, you know, we couldn't ask for a better start than that today. We're putting pressure on Penrith now, and if we can get over the try again, then they're certainly going to be behind the back ball.
Bobby Thornton mentioned after Tuesday night's playoff that he felt, as it's showing now in these opening minutes, that Penrith are vulnerable out wide.
Well, we've got the backs to do it, and if we can keep exploiting that avenue, you know, we might come up with a few more tries before this game's out.
What about Jeremy Lewis? What can you tell us about your replacement today?
Well, I can't give any bigger reps than I could on Jeremy, because he came through this season. He's got graded and he's done everything right. He's had a great season. He's been one of our best players in reserve grade all year, so I really feel he deserves a chance out there today.
Here's the Panthers turning defence into attack. Brett Lobb gets it away to Robinson. He's beaten one, but Gross got him, and Gross throws him over the sideline, 10 metres out from the Parramatta line. So it was Brett Lobb who came down on the showground side. He was away from the tackle of Ella. He got inside Stephen Sharp, turned it outside for Mark Robinson, and then Growth, after Robinson had beaten one, puts him into touch. Scrum won by Parramatta. It comes away to Kenny, and Kenny is held there by Brad Izzard together with the lock forward Clements. And here's Price going from dummy half. Price out to the 22 line. Played back to Mosley. He's gone without it, and the referee has ruled a knock-on. Mosley looks at Roberts as if to say, what's that for? And I guess what Mosley is saying, I didn't touch it.
Once again from this scrum we can see the Penrith tactic of selecting Brad Izzard in the centres, and he's wearing number 3, but from many set play situations he goes in and adopts the 5'8 position.
Robinson to play the ball. 20 metres out from the line, across to Alexander. It's gone through to Lobb, making the extra man. He picks up the 5'8 Burns. He fends off Cronin, gets it back to Lobb. Oh, what a tackle by Price. Played back, and running with the ball is Burns. Burns to the 22 line. Simmons, Alexander, turning it back on the blind for Gary Howe. Did his apprenticeship really with the Parramatta club. From Alexander across to Burns. Burns kicks. Sterling is there. It's an awkward bounce for him. It's going to be a try. No, it's a penalty. A penalty to Penrith. He's penalised one of the Panthers for pushing a Parramatta player out of the road. Let's see it again. There was the kick by Burns, a nice kick, and a bad bounce for Sterling. And he's penalised this man here at the front of the screen, and I must admit he's escaped me as it was, but he apparently played at Sterling on the mind of Kevin Roberts and not at the ball. So it's with the Eels again on their own 22, and here's Kenny across, and it's put down, and Kenny has to clean up his own mistake, and it's going to be a scrum right in the centre of the ground on the Parramatta 22 line. Here it was. Parramatta, in my opinion, trying to do things too fancy inside their own 22.
And it's obvious where Parramatta think they can win this game. Even in the early moments, most of their plays are centering around Ella, Cronin and Kenny. That's where they're looking to spread the ball.
Burns, tackled by Cronin. Play 25 metres out from the Parramatta line. Clements gets rid of the tackle of Brett Kenny. Jerd comes over the top. 6-0 in favour of Parramatta over Penrith. A try scored. I wouldn't mind getting the official time on it, actually, but about a minute and a half. Here it is coming along the Panthers back line out to Brad Izzard, and he's tackled there by Mark Laurie. Simmons over to Alexander. Alexander, arc-like run. Ken Wolf, a high tackle, gets underneath it. Alexander turns it around, goes back to Simmons. Simmons tries to get it to Zavanovic. Playing in the headgear today is Lou Zavanovic after that big gash was stitched up in his forehead on Tuesday. The bomb from Greg Alexander, a test for Paul Taylor. Beautifully taken. Beautifully taken by Taylor. See it again. Probably with the exception of Jonathan Docking, the shortest of the fullbacks in Sydney.
I know Greg Alexander fairly well, and I don't think he'll have any nerves whatsoever. He's the sort of young man that's got plenty of confidence in his own ability.
Drop out taken by Zavanovic, and he's tackled on the 32-metre line. Now for Burns. Burns away from Kenny, and he's got it back inside for Clements. Clements is tackled by Mosley. To the right for Zavanovic. There he is playing in that brown headgear. One of the pioneers of this Penrith side, really. Oh, Simmons! A giant dummy! And tackled by Taylor. 7 metres from the line. Gary Howe now, met by a wall of Parramatta defence. That's 5 tackles gone for the Panthers. Can they score here? Alexander puts up another bomb. Sterling's underneath it, rakes it over the dead ball line. Line drop out to restart for the Eels.
There you can see one of the great strings to Greg Alexander's bow. He's put up a couple of bombs in this game, and every time he puts one up, it lands in goal and necessitates the line dropout. He doesn't put them dead in goal, he puts them in goal.
Cronin restarting. Penrith Panther pressure. Lob tackled about 25 metres out from the Parramatta line. Well, just when Parramatta scored and converted, I thought that might be it. But here's Matt Goodwin thrusting himself towards the line. Penrith running in towards that Bradman goal mouth, and this is Gary Howe. Howe is tackled, still 11 metres out. That's the 3rd tackle for the Panthers. To the left for Alexander, the run around with Izzard, inside for Burns. Burns gets it further inside, it came off an Eel, and that's the 1st tackle for Mosley. See it again, you'll see the touch by the Parramatta player. Well, you may not, but Mosley dived on it, and Parramatta are now on their 3rd tackle as Mosley rucks it out to the 22.
And this game's bringing back memories of last year when South Sydney were involved in a play-off for 5th spot. They went into the semi-final against Manly, were behind something like 14-0, but they got back to win that game. And one can only ask the question, can Penrith do a similar thing?
Now this kick was put down by Ella. He's the first man down in the line of defence, so they're all onside. And Lydiard and Ella make the tackle 22 metres out from the Panthers line. A little bit of breathing space for Parramatta as Jerd and Sharp go in to make that tackle on number 5, Ben Gonzalez. Out goes the other winger, Robinson. The trend, of course, is for wingers and halfbacks, the speedy men, to come into dummy half and take runs out of your own 22. And this man is Clements. He's built like a, well, he's built like a halfback, to be honest with you. And he's played a tremendous part in what Penrith has done in the last few weeks in particular. The big kick down for Eric Grace to get his first touch of the ball. Out to the 22 line. Sterling will probably go for Price here. There's Price, but it's gone over his shoulder. Penrith will come up with the ball. And that's the same mistake Parramatta has made, in my opinion, twice in the opening exchanges. Taking chances inside their own 22 that are completely and utterly unnecessary. Well, there's the pass from a Penrith player to another in a forward direction, but he's putting the scrum down. (6-0) Parramatta leading. Hang on, what the hell's gone on here? It's straight through the tunnel. I thought if Jeff Gerard comes up with this and it goes on, then the game's not fair dinkum. Sterling feeds again. It's been allowed to go. Parramatta scrum win. Kenny comes the blind, and Kenny is flung to the ground. 25 metres out from his own line. Well, this will be a penalty, will it? No, he's told them to play on. Ella gets it back inside to Kenny. Kenny across to Stan Jerd. Jerd met by Goodwin, gives it to Mosley. Mosley decides to take the ball to ground. 34 metres out from his own line. This is Lillis. Here's the lower grade results for you. Balmain 12, Manly 6 under 23s, Canterbury 23, Cronulla 4 reserve grade. So it's exit Manly 23s and Cronulla reserves from the 1985 competition. This is Mark Laurie near the halfway line. That's 4 tackles gone for the Eels. Here's Sterling now. David Lydiard. 5 tackles. Here's Sterling with the cross kick. And that ball is bouncing in the in goal. Penrith are going to have to pick it up. Greg Alexander's there, but here comes the defence. He's beaten them both. Now he's been taken a couple of metres into the field of play, but that's a good effort by Alexander, and he's hurt. Well, I saw nothing in the tackle that looked illegal. He did a mighty fine job here. He got inside Taylor and he got around Mosley. Now let's keep with him. Laurie went in with Lydiard, and that's where it all happened. Tim Sheen's the man that has taken Penrith to their first semi-final ever. I'll take a punt and say that Alexander was using his young brain and saying, I've got to give the boys a breather here just so we can regroup and get ourselves organised. Well, what's it feel like to be a former Panther watching the Penrith side in their first big league semi-final? Let's find out as Graeme Hughes talks to Phil Gould from Canterbury.
Phil, plenty of sympathy for the old club, the Panthers.
Yes, mate, I'd really like to see them do well tonight. I was tickled pink to see they made the 5 on Tuesday night, and I hope they go really well and really stick it to Parramatta today.
Well, of course, that shock start, the try for Parramatta, but they've hit back pretty well.
They seem to have consolidated, mate. Yeah, Parramatta are very dangerous early in the game, always. They come out with great enthusiasm and very dangerous early. They've got the try, but to the Penrith blokes' credit, they've held their guns, and now they're consolidated, and if they can hit back, they're well in this game.
Well, Parramatta, of course, finding gaps out wide, but to my mind, this Parramatta pack certainly isn't getting any respect in the middle of the road.
No, they're very, very willing, the Panther blokes, mate. They're not beaten with yet, and Parramatta are going to have to work very hard to advance any further in the semi-finals.
And it's Canterbury tomorrow.
Canterbury tomorrow, mate, yeah.
Thanks, Phil.
Now, you know what it's like to tune into it. They hit the referee. They hit the referee. It'll come down for a scrum now. It's happened in Penrith's half, so they're classified as the defensive side. It'll be a Parramatta feed this time. In fact, the kick, you wouldn't believe it, it took place right on the halfway mark. It hit Kevin Roberts 5 metres into Penrith's territory. It should be a Parramatta feed. Had it have happened in Parramatta's half, let me tell you, it would not have been a Parramatta halfback feed. Kenny, picked up by Taylor. 10 metres into Penrith's area. I was about to say, now you know what it's like to tune into a private discussion between two Bulldogs. Graeme Hughes and Phil Gould, eh? Canterbury tomorrow, eh? I reckon the Tigers will have something to say about that. This is Willis now. We'll have that for you tomorrow night, 6 through 7:30. 10 Sports covering the NEC big games. And here's Cronin off a Kenny special, and Cronin's in for a try. Well, you've heard it all before. John Mooney sitting there quite pensively. But this man, Michael Cronin, nobody can pay him a high enough tribute, but to come off a Brett Kenny special like this and to pick up a try in a semi-final, you can almost hear the opposition fans applauding. I am saying that, of course, tongue-in-cheek, but this man has certainly done it all in rugby league, and he picks up a try in this semi-final this afternoon, Michael Cronin.
Well, it's been the Cronin-Ella-Kenny combination that's been doing all the damage, and here it's the number 6 and the number 3, Mick Cronin and Brett Kenny. A great pass by Kenny, offloaded the ball to Cronin, and he knew the way to the try line.
Here it is again. Cronin with the conversion of his own try now. 1 out of 1 for Cronin. He's 20 metres out, and he's about 15 metres in from the Brawongle stand. Sideline. His kick is an awful kick, really. It's gone way across the face of the uprights. No goal for Cronin, but Parramatta leading Penrith by 10 points to 0. Fed by Sterling, in and out, won by the Eels. Sterling runs to the open side. He's held there by Clements, the lock. And they're just about 11 metres out from the line. Anything could happen from here. Steve Sharp takes it up as a settler. That's the second tackle for Parramatta as it's played back to Mosley's knocked on. Again, the dummy half. Nobody's more disappointed than him. That's the second time in the match Mosley from dummy half is knocked on. Here's the score. Parramatta 10, Penrith no score. Alexander to work it. And it's a clean win for Penrith. This is Robinson. It's a dangerous pass by Alexander by the same token from the blind side of the scrum. A long ball across to Robinson, who was standing as a wide 5/8. Here's Simmons tackled by Jerd and by Mosley. This is Clements. Again, Jerd makes it. Oh, now see Penrith are falling into the same habit as Parramatta.
Well, I give a lot of credit there to Parramatta. I thought that Parramatta's defence bustled Penrith into that error.
Nobody made him pass the ball, Bill. This is Taylor. Now it's with Sterling. Sterling. He's 2 metres out from the line. Sharp, long ball. Kenny holds it back. He'll come inside. Lydiard's tackled. That's the 4th. Still 2 metres out. Taylor sweeps it away to Sterling. Sterling is tackled. The ball is loose. Picked up by Parramatta. Knocked backwards. They've got one more. And Sharp it is who'll play it. Mosley's the dummy half. No, he's not. Sterling took over. Kenny holds it back. Gets it around the corner. And it was Cronin and Growth. But it's with Clements for Penrith. And here's Gonzalez coming out, but Parramatta's inside the 5. 10-0 in favour of Parramatta to score. The first of our sudden death semi-finals. And of course, we come through the 2 weekends of semis to the final, then the grand final. And we'll be starting our telecast at 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll have a live coverage of all grades on grand final day. A history-making telecast for you. And I'm sure it's one that you're going to enjoy. The 23s, the reserves, and the first from 10 a.m. right through, well, we might finish up here at midnight. Who knows? The statistician just fell on the floor. Away to Kenny. Now to Cronin. Izzard sweating on Cronin and eating up every little available piece of opportunity, really, to have a good game against Michael Cronin, is Brad Izzard. Plenty have tried, plenty have failed, but Izzard is certainly giving it his best shot here today. Here's Kenny away from Simmons. And he's into an opening! Kenny inside 32! That's Taylor! Taylor round the corner for Grove! Grove beats Alexander and scores! Eric Grove scores in the scoreboard corner after Kenny had slid through an opening and then basically did the rest. Eric Grove, the try scorer. Watch Brett Kenny in action here.
A great try, this one by Parramatta. Kenny shrugged out of one tackle, went off his right foot to be able to get in behind the Penrith defence. Now, we just have a look at this passage of play. He turned the ball back inside to Taylor. I thought that Taylor would have continued the play going that way. He had support back on the inside, but he elected to put his hands through the tackle, fired the ball back outside to Growth, and Growth had just too much strength for Alexander, and in he goes to score the try. That's good night for Penrith.
Here it is, looking at it head on. Try scorer Eric Growth, Parramatta's third. Cronin coming in to attempt his third shot. Almost on the touchline. 1 from 2 so far. Beautiful looking kick. He's got it, Cronin from the sideline. Parramatta zooming away to a 16 points to 0 lead. Gorgeous day here in Sydney. Disappointing crowd, one has to say that. This is Wolf. Across now for Greg Alexander, and he kicks and it's gone. Again, in my opinion, he's not going for break on his kicks. They're so shallow that Parramatta immediately comes back onto an attacking mission. Sure, chip over the top of the 3/4, turn them around, make them think next time, what's he going to do now? But most of his kicks that are I thought meant to go deeper, are going far too shallow. What do you think, Bill?
Well, I think he's caught in two minds. He's caught between putting through the long kick and the chip over the top, and consequently he's sort of picking the middle course, which is a nothing kick between the cover defence and the fullback, and Parramatta having no troubles whatsoever running the ball up.
If you're not going to apply pressure from a kick, you might as well not kick. It's gone to Laurie now, and this is Laurie tackled just a couple of metres into Penrith's area. And now it's Sterling. Sterling gets the grubber kick in, looking for the touchline, and it's straightened right up. He'll have to field this ball, I think, Robinson. No. He stood right over the top of it, watched it go over the dead ball line, so back to the 22 for the restart. Well, this is quite amazing. That ball was dead set heading at about 30 degrees for the touchline. It bounced there, and then it just coiled around and went over the dead ball line. Greg Clemens plays it now, inside the 32. Simmons around the back for Howe, met by Laurie. Lillis is in there with the tackle on Howe. This is Gerard. He lives very, very close to the Parramatta headquarters, Jeff Gerard. Very much in the Parramatta district. This is Lee Zavanovic. And now it's Greg Alexander. Away from Jerd, around Laurie, comes to Kenny, fires it to Howe, floats it over the top to Robinson. Robinson, oh, you're going too close to the sideline, but he's pulled down by Brett Kenny and David Lydiard. He wasn't put in the touch, it was the turnover, and it's gone now to Sharp, and Sharp is tackled 8 metres his side of the halfway. Lilith. Price, Laurie, taken by Goodwin, who polled very well in the Rothmans medal on Wednesday night. Big Matt Goodwin. And here's Ray Price again. Lydiard is favouring his left arm. There it is, hanging quite limply. And now it's out to Taylor, and Taylor puts the kick in and the cross, and it's turned them around. The fullback is going back with Gonzalez. And I said the fullback Robinson is falling back there in anticipation of the bomb, as he did on Tuesday night. And that was a good example of a kick and chase. This is Robinson now, about 12 metres out from his own line. But apart from a very small period of time, the Panthers have looked a lethargic lot. Maybe Tuesday night, as Bill Anderson said, was their grand final. Here they are throwing it about now, and it's gone out to Gonzalez. Gonzalez up towards Groth, but Groth's got him and puts him in a touch. Always staying between the winger and the middle of the park. And you'll see Eric Groth here. He didn't really care how far Gonzalez ran as long as he went sideways, and then he used the sideline to his advantage.
That's very good winger play. If you know you've got plenty of pace to stand inside your opponent, let him get around you, and then you can drive him over the touchline. Of course, if you're not too fast, it's not a good tactic, or he might go all the way.
Gonzalez, tackled by Sterling. Alexander, Izzard. Long ball from Izzard. Oh, it's bounced badly. Oh, Lydiard's come up with the ball, one arm and all. This could be a penalty. No, Roberts has allowed the advantage, if you like, to go to Parramatta. Here's Sterling popping it inside for Ella. And Ella will play the ball 20 metres out from the Panthers line. Parramatta looking for their fourth try. Cronin to Kenny to Lydiard. He's going for the corner. He's got his foot down. It's a try. It's a try to David Lydiard. Try number 4 for the Eels. Penrith with no answer to them today. And Parramatta leading by 20 points to nothing. David Lydiard on camera, the try scorer. This was the try on replay.
It was great play here by Parramatta. They realised they had the numbers on their right-hand side of the field, timed their passes to perfection. They gave Lydiard the overlap. I thought Greg Alexander was covering far too close to his line. Tackles you make in your own in goal are useless.
Bit of concern there for David Lydiard. He was saying something to Graham Richards, the trainer, whether or not he said, can you get me out of here or what? There's the arm, again, favouring it.
It looked as if he said to Graham Richards, I'm just about gone.
2 from 3 for Cronin. Sideline kick again for Cronin. Want to back him out, Bill?
I'd never back against him.
Here he goes. Left the boot all right. I like it. I like it. It's a goal for Cronin from the sideline again. 22-0. Parramatta leading Penrith, the NEC semi-final. Earlier, and I must admit it was not meant to be offensive towards Penrith, but Greg doesn't need practice at kicking off, and he's had plenty of it in the first half. The only hope I can think of for Penrith is that scoreline looks very familiar to the one I was talking about earlier against East a month ago. What was that, 20-0, 22-0, 24-0?
I don't think it was quite that high, but Parramatta have got the incentive in this game. There's no way that they'll relax the grip. They made a decision 6 weeks ago that they were going to go all the way in this premiership. That remains to be seen, but they won't let Penrith get a sniff of a win here.
So very close to the half-time break we are now, and oh yes, Sharps over the halfway, finds Lillis. Lillis is taken by Brad Izzard. Mosley's gone to dummy half. They want a quick play of the ball. They'll probably come the blind again. They've stacked it with runners. Lydiard puts in the kick. He pursues it himself. Bredlob is knocked on. Nothing's going right for the Alpha Micros.
Penrith are making mistakes that you just wouldn't believe, and the difference between picking up a loose ball like this and not picking it up is a fraction of a second. Where that fraction of a second lies is in tiredness.
Same tunnel. Sterling decides to kick on the first, and up they go for it. David Burns has taken it nicely. He's out of the tackle of Brett Kenny. He's lost a shoe. He's running with one shoe missing, but I'll tell you what, he's picked up Ben Gonzalez. Eric Gross chases Gonzalez. Gross got him. Good chase. Good run by Gonzalez. I thought he would have beaten Gross. His lob to Clements. They've got to score. No, they bombed it. Well, that was easy for them, really. It was only a case of passing and catching, but they couldn't do it. And that's the end of the first half as you watch the replay of quite a simple thing. It was just a matter of catching and passing, but it went behind Mark Robinson. And there's David Lydiard, a rather forlorn sight, leaving the Sydney Cricket Ground at the break. Let's get a match comment from Graeme Hughes.
Well, Ray, rather predictably, Penrith showing the effects of a very tough week for them after that playoff against Manly. In the second half, there's nothing left for them now in 1985 except to chase some self-respect. And to do that, a big performance is required by Greg Alexander just to get them on that scoreboard.
Preliminary semi-final is the Parramatta tackle count 101, 15 for Jerd. Penrith 108, and Goodwin and Simmons topping it on 17. Clements 16. 22 points to 0 in favour of Parramatta. Very much a case of one-way traffic in the first 40 minutes. A change in the Parramatta side. David Lydiard is off. His place taken by the experienced Neil Hunt. Here's Simmons, tackled by Lillis, who came into the side to replace the injured Peter Wynn.
Penrith would be well aware that they can't win this match. They're just far too far behind. With 22 points to 0 against Parramatta is the sort of deficit that you can never make up. But I think what they've got to do is come out of this game with some of their pride still intact.
Yes, it's very much a case of pride and dignity. And here's a scrum to go down to be fed by Parramatta just inside the round 22. The shadows lengthening at the cricket ground. Put in by Sterling. It's come out the back of the Parramatta pack. Here's Kenny, and Kenny wrapped up by Brad Izzard. Now it's Mark Laurie. So tomorrow night between 6 and 7:30 we'll have all the action from the major between Balmain and Canterbury. And Graeme is sitting with one of the people that's going to take part tomorrow. Greg Mullane, he's up on the grandstand.
Thanks, Ray. Greg, Penrith with plenty of problems.
Yeah, they sure have at this stage. I can't see him getting out of it. Doesn't look that way anyhow.
Canterbury, of course, have got your own tomorrow.
Yeah, we're in a good frame of mind for tomorrow, and we hope to beat Balmain, of course, because we'd hate to face up against the Parramatta in this mood, being the loser of tomorrow, so we certainly want to win tomorrow.
The Bulldogs are riding on I would say, a pack of forwards that are the form one in the competition.
Yeah, the forwards are playing well, but we're still building up to the grand final, hopefully, getting stronger each week.
Good luck, Greg.
Thanks very much, Graeme.
Greg Millane. Here's the scrums on penalties for you. 8-5 scrums to Parramatta, 2-2 the penalties. And this was Peter Sterling. Around one and outside another. That's a long run for Sterling. That only indicates to me that it wasn't a very good pursuit on the Greg Alexander kick. Here's Laurie. And now Ben Gonzalez, who he may be fast, Ben Gonzalez, but I must say to you, I was shocked when Eric Groth ran him down, and that may come as a surprise to some people. But I honestly thought that Gonzalez would outsprint Eric Groth. This is Zavanovic. Look at that strapping on his head, Zavanovic. He had a huge cut on his head on Tuesday night. He looked like some Indian scouting party had got hold of him. Alexander feeding it across to Burns and back to Alexander, and then it's to Lobb, and Lobb decides that, well, we're not going anywhere, so I better go forward. And now it's Alexander who kicks, and it's going straight down to Paul Taylor. There's not a great deal of purpose, Bill, in what Penrith are doing. Here's Kenny now. Sorry.
The big problem they're having is they just can't find runners to hit the ball up over the advantage line as a platform to work on. Greg Alexander's taking first pass off the ruck, looking for his forwards. They're not there, so consequently he's either got to run it himself, spread the ball to a deep back line, or kick it, and he's not having any success.
Sterling. Gross. Pardon the inflection in my voice when I said Groth then, but I have become accustomed not to finding Eric Groth making the extra man in that back line. He's the type of player that just seems to do as much as he has to. When you see him doing things like that, you can almost rest assured his coach has said to him, Eric, would you mind doing a little bit more for us, please? Here's Cronin. Short ball for Laurie. This is the last for Parramatta. Sterling getting inside Izzard, and well, Sterling threw the ball in the air to kick it, and Howell it was actually got the first shot in. And that was a Clayton's kick from Sterling. Sharp now. Hang on, here comes the replacement for Parramatta. And Tim Sheens has decided, well, it's no use waiting. I've got to do this. He's going to make wholesale sackings as Cronin sends Laurie into an opening. Laurie is tackled 11 metres out from the Penrith line, and 4 tackles have gone. It's gone out to Sterling. He pops the ball for Steve Ella. Ella is tackled 8 metres out from the line. 5 gone. Sterling's on the blind. Here he is with the ball. Short pass for Kenny. Kenny flops it over the top to Groth, and Groth again goes through Alexander. No fault of the youngster. You can't stop the big fella when you've got 1 metre to work in. And Eric Groth scores his second try. And 26 points to 0 is the score. But this was almost an embarrassing semi-final try. Eric Groth takes on Greg Alexander. Big man on small man, 1 metre between you and the try line. You can't blame the little fellow, but Eric Groth picks up an embarrassing semi-final try.
Once again, it was well-read play by Peter Sterling and Brett Kenny. Kenny released the ball over the top to Groth, and I've seen him do this so many times in the past. He's just unstoppable that close to the line.
So Eric Groth gets his second try. Can he make it 3 from the sideline out of 3? It doesn't look that bad, but it's just wide. And so the scoreline in the NEC Big Game semi-final. Parramatta 26, Penrith 0.
Well, in 23, Brandon Lee has gone on for Gary Howe. In 21, Warren Fenton has gone on for Greg Clements. And also Tony Trudgett in 19 on for David Burns.
Thank you, Graeme. A little bit surprised that Burns has been replaced. I thought he was...
I'm very much surprised. He was their best player to my mind.
He's not now playing the ball on his own 22. Mosley wrapped up there by Lee, playing in the knee guard, or the knee heavily strapped on the left. Here's Laurie. Well, Parramatta have really put it together out in the backs, but I don't think anybody's going to rush to the bookmakers to plaster Parramatta with money, because Penrith have just not been able to test them at all. Here's Laurie. Shrewd judges would like to see Parramatta go round again before they start declaring that the Blue and Golds will win their 4th premiership. Robinson plays it. This is Trudgett. Trudgett playing in 19. Experienced campaigner, of course, is Tony Trudgett. And this is Brandon Lee now in the 23. Fenton, when he came on Tuesday night, I thought he sparked Penrith.
And that's been a lot better play from Penrith already. Firstly, Brandon Lee, and secondly, Warren Fenton hit the ball up, got some yardage for Penrith in the middle of the ruck, and now we can see the result of it. They're making a bust.
Gerard Robinson was entitled to catch that. Greg Alexander grabs at his hair, and I think if he had more of it, he probably would pull a lump out. But, you know, this man, Robinson, was entitled to catch that. He's a winger, and as I said before, they stand out there. Sure, they're doing their job by standing out there, but other than a suntan, they're only expected to catch the ball and run with it, really. Penalty for the Eels. That's an arm down against Roy Simmons. With almost a sarcastic smile on his face as he pinched Roy Simmons on that occasion. I don't say that about wingers with a wholesale meaning to all of them, but really they've got the lightest job of all players, in my opinion. And it's a shame to see them let a good attacking move fall apart. Here's Brett Kenny running off Steve Sharp. Short ball inside 32, up to the 22. Looks to give the ball away to you-know-who, Steve Ella. But it's Eric Groth who's gone to dummy half. A long ball, and Sharp puts it down behind him. Scoops it away to Jerd. The referee is ruling that the ball was propelled forward. Atkins is going on for Parramatta, and Taylor is off. Can we get a check on Taylor, Graeme?
Straight away.
Won by Penrith. Trudgett. Fenton. Brett Lobb. What's the word on Taylor, Graeme?
Well, he was just suffering from some minor cramps, so obviously there was no sense in leaving him out there.
Okay. This is Simmons, a long ball over to Wolf, and Wolf held back the ball with a... Oh! There he goes, Brett Kenny! That was the intercept he took in the 81 grand final. Then he gives it to Ella. Ella inside to Kenny. Oh boy, do you reckon they can't put it together? Kenny and Ella magic. Have you seen that before?
for Mr. Anderson?
It was the same old story, the old firm, the combination of Ella and Kenny once again. A moment ago, Kenny was down on the ground with one boot on and one boot off. He had just put it back on and got to his feet. We can see here it was a loose pass by the Penrith Panthers, but beautifully read by Brett Kenny. He knew where that pass was going, put his hand in the right position, came up with it, and here's the tremendous combination of these two great Parramatta players. The ball was flicked to Ella. He headed for the sideline, called Kenny back inside him. Kenny took the scissors pass and headed over between the uprights.
Well, see it again. It's not the first and it won't be the last time you'll see something like this at the Sydney Cricket Ground where it involves Brett Kenny. Well, there he is, Brett Kenny, the Parramatta 5/8, as he's described in the programs. And there's the kick, straight between the uprights from Michael Cronin. Parramatta swelling their lead to a massive 32 points to 0. And who's gone on, Graeme Hughes?
Don Price in 26, Ray.
Thank you.
The pass from Sterling to Gross must have been horribly close to forward. Sharp to Sterling. Sterling back to Sharp. He's just out there having an easy ride at the moment, P. Sterling, but I think everybody would agree over the last couple of weeks he started to hit his straps, and his opposition are going to pay him great respect in the next couple of weeks. Well, Graeme, you've seen a lot of semi-final football since we went to 5 teams in the semi-final. Do you agree with the popular thought that this blue and gold side has got the best chance yet?
Well, Ray, I wouldn't say that, because in 1979 Canterbury we did get to the grand final. They've got a lot of work to do yet. I've still got a little bit of doubt about Parramatta taking full control of the middle of a ruck. I think, especially in that first half against the sides like Balmain, St George and Canterbury, they might have found themselves on the other end of that scoreline. Their backs have been totally brilliant, plenty of room to move, but especially after that first try, when Penrith did, for about a 5 or 10 minute period, start to hit back, they were finding plenty of room to move in that middle of the ruck, and that's why I say that doubt still remains in my mind about their forwards, especially with so many of their front rowers out injured.
There's a sign of the tiredness in the Penrith camp. Kevin Roberts had to actually call 2 of the players, Matt Goodwin and Jeff Gerard, to move quickly to get in goal so that Greg Alexander could take this line dropout. They were just too slow getting back.
Here's Graeme Atkins taking it back. His name has been synonymous really with Parramatta. His father was there, and Graeme left to go to East when he didn't seem to be required, but he soon folded back. He's a good, strong player, Atkins, without being a flash player. And here's a Sharp and a cross now for Kenny. Got around his art. He got inside Simmons. Fenton's got him, but he's passed the ball inside for Zavanovic, and Zavanovic is tackled by Mosley. Well, Kenny's totally switched on at the moment. He could have his own party here if he decides to let go. He's built very much in the same mould as Growth in a lot of ways, Kenny, and not many people know that. He's the sort of player who does as much as he has to do.
He's one of those players that has the great attribute of just knowing when to bob up. He can put himself in the right position at the right time to take a pass, to come up with an intercept, or whatever it might be. He's just a naturally gifted player.
Some people think that to have a bloke like Kenny or Growth in your side is a dead-set dream come true, but I'm going to shock you. I have heard coaches that have been with them say that they are a fair dinkum coach's nightmare. Meaning, of course, that you don't quite know when they're going to switch on. This is Hunt. Now it's Price. Here's the score coming up, 32-0. Parramatta leading Penrith. And
Sterling putting Sharp up the middle, up to the halfway. Sharp's found Ella. The zip man kicks ahead, runs past the fullback. I think he's going to score, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's hit the upright. Now it's been put over the dead ball line, and it'll be a line dropout. Well, that's the one that got away for Steve Ella.
Steve Sharp probably passed the ball too early. He could have drawn the full-back by running much further towards him. He decided that he'd give the ball to Ella very early. Ella decided that he would chip and chase, and for all intents and purposes, he was going to come up with a try. Then, would you believe it, all of a sudden the ball hits the uprights. Ella missed the bounce, and it was put in goal by Penrith.
That was it on the low-angle camera. Bill's spot on. I don't know why he said he might have passed later. He should have passed much later, but there it is, Steve Ella. Wishing to held that upright and gone somewhere else. But here's Parramatta back off the line dropout now. Mosley running around Price. Price to the 22 and slithering along the ground there. Worming his way towards the try line. From Don Price to Peter Sterling to Brett Kenny, back to Sterling, dummies to Cronin, steps inside off his left, floats it over the top to Sharp, goes back to Don Price, back it goes to Michael Mosley, and that's a try. Mosley scores for Parramatta in front of the M.A. Noble stand. Only just a few seconds ago, I was singing the praises of Peter Sterling, suggesting that he was going to be a problem child for opposing coaches when he displayed some of the nippiness, the elusiveness of P. Sterling. He had backups in Sharp. What a great game he's having. And then it was this man, Don Price, and then Michael Mosley. Mosley, the hooker for Parramatta. He comes from the Parramatta Maris Junior Club, and what a great rise he's had since the retirement of Stephen Edge, and there's a despondent Penrith side. 4 out of 6 for Cronin. 21 out, 15 in, and he's got it round. It's come in for a goal. There's the score, a whopping 38-0. Parramatta leading Penrith in the NEC Big Game semi-final. Brothers. Don with the ball now. Hunt. Sterling. Kenny shrugging off a would-be. Sterling to the halfway line, and he's heading for the ground. Tackled by Fenton and Lobb. Now it's Don Price. Straight up the middle, or some of this defence is paper thin. Sharp. Laurie. Not a very big mark, Laurie, but gee, I tell you what, he runs like a man who's got about 3 more stone on his own side. The kick ahead was from Laurie. Up they go. Robinson takes it safely and is away from Mick Mosley, and is tackled by Ella. Ella has to come again to clean up the tackle. But this was the take on the NEC replay from Robinson. The plan was well laid out for Robinson to fall back into the fullback position for Lobb when the Bombs were around. And this is Ivanovic. Today, for those of you who may have just come home, and Canterbury winning reserves. It was Manly and Cronulla leaving the cricket ground as losers, and the end of 85. Sterling tackled by Ken Wolfe. Here's Hunt. Picked up by Kenny. Outside 32. Past the 40. Over the halfway goes Kenny. Mark Robertson chases. Kenny gets a kick in. And it's taken by Alexander. Alexander coming back now. Ken Wolfe. Gonzalez. Brandon Lee. Tackled by Graeme Atkins. This is Don Price. The highs and the lows of rugby league being exemplified here today with the Penrith side. Euphoria on Tuesday night. Never ever seen before in a Penrith dressing room, and the scenes on the ground, everybody had to be thrilled for Penrith. But no sooner had we turned the lights on, or they had turned the lights on, and they've gone out.
The sad part is there's no halfway point. It's either 100% enjoyment or 100% disappointment.
They've been very much like that, Penrith, you know, this year when you think about it. One week they can beat the best. Here's Kenny floating the ball. Oh, it's going to come off the boot of the punt. It'll be a scrum. This man, Kenny, has had a thoroughly impressive game today, hasn't he? I was just looking around at some of my co-judges for the Man of the Match award. Here's a replacement going on now.
That looks like Mike Eden.
It is Mike Eden, isn't it, Graeme?
Yes, Mike Eden in 14, and I would suggest a compliment from the bench and John Mooney for Peter Sterling.
Well, there it is. Sterling coming off. Mike Eden going on. Sterling leaves the ground, and Parramatta gets a penalty. Is Eden taking the kick for line in 14? I said to Mike, what's doing? On Wednesday night, he said, oh, I'm just hanging around, doing the best I can for them between now and grand final day. He hasn't been a well boy. But gee, wasn't he good when Sterling wasn't around? And the impressive part about Eden, and I kept pointing it out in the early part of the year, was there were people that said he couldn't tackle. Some of his tackle counts were quite unbelievable. Here's Sharp. 10 metres out from the Penrith line. I'm looking at some of the facial expressions on Matt Goodwin. He has Fairdingham worked himself into the ground as Price looks for the line. He's about 3 metres out from it now. His brother Don passes to Sharp, and Sharp is about 5 metres from the line. 5 tackles gone. Eden's there. Spins it across to Kenny, a short ball for Cronin, then it's with Ella. Ella does 2 steps off his left, puts the kick through, gets a bit of a shoulder up. The ball is still loose. This will be a try. I think, no, he's been bounced in goal. Bounced in goal by Steve Sharp. And it'll come out to the 22 for the restart. I was talking about Matt Goodwin earlier on. Here's the slow-mo of Steve Ella. The bounce ball in goal. Fenton outside the 32 and to the halfway line.
Oh, look at
the chase is on. Look at Growth. He's taking gigantic strides across the ground.
Fairdingham gave him 30 metres start and picked him up in 50.
Now it's Alexander. This is tragic. Izzard is in. It's a try for the Panthers. Penrith have scored.
Well, it's all come too late for Penrith, but it is some consolation, and they won't go home completely unrewarded. And very fitting, I would think, after the way he's played in the last few weeks, that Izzard's the man to put the ball over the line.
Level camera, and Brad Izzard taking it right down to the wire. An exhausted Brad Izzard, to say the least. Alexander with a relatively simple kick, but he hasn't had much practice today. Nevertheless, he's kicked the goal. It's 38 points to 6 in favour of Parramatta. There's the clock counting down. Craig is at it.
Gonzalez.
Young Penrith players, Penrith juniors, did well in the National Panasonic Under-15 Championships at Bow Desert this week. So, as I said earlier, this nursery of juniors that Penrith have will see this club in more semi-finals than just this first one in 1985. There's more to come, let me tell you. Limping around at the back of his scrum. Usually Price limping these days, you sort of don't worry about it. Oh, Eden might have got a kick in the face, did he? From one of his own second rowers. Here's Price. There you go, see, he limped around at the back of the scrum. Who do you think takes the second run from the scrum? Ray Price. Mosley. There's the siren. It's over. 38-6 to Parramatta. It was predicted by many. The reality of it unfolded here at the cricket ground today. The blue and golds, Growth 2, Price, Cronin, Lydiard, Kenny, Mosley tries. Cronin 5. Penrith Izzard a try in the closing 5 minutes. Alexander a goal. And Parramatta thrashing Penrith by 38 points to 6. In the first elimination semi-final of the Winfield Cup for 1985.
The match turned out very much like that well-publicised game of touch against Cronulla.
Well, winning a flat tackle against Cronulla was touch. Penrith didn't play as good as what we expected them to, and we came up with the points today, and next week's another game, and if we get knocked out next week, we're finished, so it's another grand final for us.
Yeah, it is a long way to go. Which way are you leaning tomorrow?
Well, I lean towards Canterbury, so looks like we're playing Balmain next week, but that's only my opinion.
All right, well, good luck with it. We'll play today.
Thanks, Graeme.
Parramatta's Steve Ella, and the Eels stay alive in 1985 as we take a break and then come back.
Convincing display here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Parramatta have demolished Penrith, and our man of the match is the Eels 5'8", Brett Kenny. Congratulations, Brett. You always seem to save your best for the big games.
Well, it appears that way, yeah, but, you know, we just went out there, we played this as if it was our grand final, so I thought our forwards played very well, which helped the backs a lot. There's a lot of gaps out wide, and we just took it from there.
It's almost as if Brett Kenny owns the Sydney Cricket Ground. You seem to score a try almost every time you take the field here.
Well, you know, actually I haven't scored too many in the semi-finals, but I've been fortunate to score 2 in every grand final except last year, so I'm quite happy to play here.
Well, what happens to Parramatta from here?
Well, tonight we're going out to Harpoon Harry's, which is owned by our doctor, Dr. Menelaus, and hopefully have a good run again Tuesday night, work out what we did wrong tonight and today, and take it from there. Congratulations once again, and for taking today's Man of the Match award, you of course receive the NEC Game Ball Trophy and a cheque for $500 from NEC. Thanks, Brian. I'd like to thank NEC for the award as well. Thank you.
Tim, the week, I guess, just proved that a little bit too long.
Well, it would seem that way, doesn't it, Graeme? But it's still, it's been a good week. We've been pleased. We got here, and that's something. And so we can only look at the positives now. And the season's over for us. And whereas everyone's upset, and I thought we'd had a better year than to finish on that sort of a score. But that's the way it goes, and we'll be looking forward to next season now.
Were you surprised that they consistently found gaps out wide?
Well, they moved the ball well and found us that our defence was slow to regroup, and you know, that's the experience in their side and the lack of experience in our side.
John, obviously it gets tougher from here on in.
Well, once you make the semi-finals, it's another competition, and it's always a tough competition. And semi-finals are just about survival, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to survive.
In a match like that, in the second half, when it saw really to start to get away, do you start looking for the bad ones?
Not really. We go into a game like that, and we know we're either after the game we're dead or we're alive, and the same thing applied for Penrith, and we're still alive and Penrith's dead. So that's it's just a 100% effort, and the side played particularly well.
Yeah, and a lot of guys that proved themselves again to be real pressure players.
Oh, there were some outstanding performances. Probably none greater than Stephen Sharp. You know, I thought he had a tremendous game.
Who do you expect to play next weekend?
Oh, doesn't matter. We've proved ourselves that we're the 4th best team in this competition, and next week our aim will be to prove that we're the 3rd best team in the competition. It doesn't matter who we play because we've got to beat the 3 teams that are left.
So Brett